Hi, and welcome to the last week of class. And so here we are at the end, and I just want to thank you probably a couple times on this screencast for all your hard work you did this semester. This semester, we've covered a bunch of different material in the class, and as I'm talking, I'm going to adjust the website here. So we covered a lot of different things. So we started off discussing some concepts with regards to race and ethnic relations, and we also moved on to look at individual groups and use those as cases to see how different groups of people experience identity, race, assimilation, and acceptance into American culture. And so I'm sure you noticed the variance between the different groups of people. So what we're going to do is this week we're going to wrap things up. I use chapter 13 as a case to do that. Like I discussed before, the other chapters in the book that get into comparative race and ethnic relations would be a whole different class. And so, if Black Hill State decided to add a race and ethnic relations 2 class, that'd be a nice place to explore that. But if we did that, we wouldn't be able to. If I included this last 4 chapters of the textbook into this class, it wouldn't do much justice to our current system here. And so, I'm sure you recognize America has its own issues and struggles with regards to race and ethnicity. So I'll go through what we're going to do this week. Next Friday, the end of finals week is the end of the class. So this shouldn't take very long to do. There's no videos. You're just going to do a discussion, a reflective Dropbox, and a quiz on chapter 13. So I think you should have a good time with this. What we're doing is we'll have chapter 13 we're going to be reading, and I'm going to, again, make changes as I talk. So Chapter 13 covers basically a wrap-up of the book, as far as I'm concerned. I think it ends in a pretty good place. What we've covered up to that point, I think, kind of gets it goes over it again, and so you have some more information. So you'll read chapter 13, do the chapter 13 quiz. And then there's going to be a course wrap-up Dropbox and a final discussion. You could do those in either order you want. And then, of course, I want you to respond and read your fellow students' posts to the discussion. So in looking at the module, we are going to... I'll show you what's expected here. Final discussion questions. And again, these kind of tie things back. So when we came early in the class and we looked at the idea of Afrofuturism, what that really is looking at foresight. And that's something that is done throughout social science. It's done in the business community. It's done in education. It's just a very common thing, is to look forward and try to see what's going to happen and how we address the future. And so for your foresight post, I want you to look towards the future. So I'll note here that when a social scientist uses foresight, they are either predicting what's going to happen or prescribing what is needed in the future to address an issue or issues that may be coming up. So using foresight, I want you to write a short prescription, a couple paragraphs, maybe half a page, for our country to deal with the complex issues of race and ethnic relations. And so I want you to kind of explore your own personal vision of where you see us headed as a society and prescribe how the future could be more inclusive and equitable. And this should be a fun assignment, So you could take concepts we covered in the class and look at things that we covered, or you can, prescribe something that we didn't cover. Maybe there's some things that I failed to mention here that you think should be brought up and discussed that maybe you heard of in a different class or noticed in your own world, in your own experiences in growing up. And then your personal takeaway. I want you to discuss a concept or idea that you learned in this class that you feel was your most important takeaway from this semester. So I want you to discuss why it's important to you and how you can personally or professionally use this information. I tell people in a face-to-face class that if a class isn't going to benefit you in the long run, what's the point of taking it? And I want you to see what was important in this class that you think is a key takeaway. And again, it's personal, so this is what's up to you. No one can tell you what's important to you except for yourself. Then we have the course, of course, the quiz, and then the course wrap-up. And there's two questions here. One is I want you to review your first assignment you did, which was a goals statement. So you wrote a goal about what you want to accomplish this semester. I want you to write 1 or 2 paragraphs discussing if you achieved the goal, and then explain if you're satisfied with the progress that you made this semester. And if you didn't achieve it, explain why. Maybe it's something I didn't cover, or you thought we were going to be doing something that we didn't do. But put that in here. Let me know this. Then I want you to discuss something you learned. So this is a question I use in a lot of my classes, and I usually titled it "I used to think, but now I know." In this, I just want you to basically talk about something that maybe you changed your mind, or something you didn't know before that we covered, that is an area where you or other people could use the information to really grow from. So it's basically, again, going to something that you feel was the most important thing we covered. And this might be different than your main takeaway from the class. It's often that your main takeaway was something totally different than you feel is important for other people to know. So again, this will be a short Dropbox as 2 questions, but answer them honestly and discuss what was important. So again, this semester was great. I'm very pleasantly surprised with how this semester turned out and how the discussions went and the growth that you guys did. I love seeing the fact that as we went through the semester, you often would refer to prior modules in your discussion, and you'd say, "Oh, we brought this up before," and that is shown here again. It was really nice to see the layering effect in education, and that is something that I was trying to accomplish, and I'm glad that it happened naturally. We were able to do that in a face-to-face class quite easily. It's a little more of a challenge to have happen online, especially when I'm trying to act as a guide from the side and not really a director from the front of the class when I'm doing an online class. I want you guys to be self-directed, and you did a great job. So I'm really proud of how everything went. And again, I want to thank you. I can't thank you enough for how well the semester went. It was a great semester. There were great discussions and a lot of growth that took place. Also, I want to put out there, I am teaching another class online next year. So if you do like this format, I have another class that really follows this format. It's pretty much a secondary class. So it's another, an extension of a social policy, but it's a class called Public Administration. It's a political science preface class. So it's under POLS, I think 350. And that class is looking at bureaucracy. So it should be dualistic with sociology. I mean, it's really looking at bureaucracy and how it works. But we use a lot of fun cases in there. It's the exact same format I use in this class, where we have the discussions that are layered, and we do a weekly Dropbox assignments and open book quizzes. So it's something I think that people who enjoyed this class and did well in it and felt that they'd grown and learned in this class, they can also have a good time in that one. And it's also a requirement for human service students. So it's one of the classes you can use as an elective in your human service program, I think under a few of the tracks. If not, we can talk and see about getting it put in there for whatever track you're on. But again, if you take that class, I'll look forward to seeing you online for that one. That isn't offered face-to-face anymore. And if not, I'll be glad to still discuss anything with you from this class, face-to-face, even after the semester is over. So if you have a question that comes up about race or ethnicity that you want to have a discussion about, feel free to contact me. Just because the semester's over, it doesn't mean I'm done being your teacher. So I'm always here. And again, I can't thank you enough. I'm really happy with all of your progress. Have a great summer.